And it's raising a lot of eyebrows here at Yuma Sector Border Patrol. And the port director says you can expect this same technology next at the Port of Nogales. But otherwise, earlier today, it was kind of a ghost town, and that's kind of how a lot of residents described it as well. A dashboard retains the most heat. They're sitting at about 120 degrees. U.S. Senator John Kyle returned to the desert Southwest for the first time since returning to the Senate. You can see behind me just the massive flames engulfing right now. It's a brush fire. The schools in our county. So let's take a look at perhaps one school in our region. Getting behind the wheel at early hours in the morning, and they're also on the road for up to 11 hours a day. The best features of Get Air Yuma here at the trampoline park is this challenge course type thing. Good evening, Mark. Now those two different armed robberies happened on the same night within an hour of each other. A lot of questions are still being raised over a comment she made to an officer the night of the alleged incident. Full Smiles, along with its management company Benevis, will have to pay nearly $24 million. Officers just told us that he has been treated and released and has now been booked. We're warming up just a little bit. We started off a little cold, but those donations are hot. This morning, one woman claims a local store has been without air conditioning for weeks now. She spoke with News 11 about what she saw and how she's trying to help the employees and customers keep cool. Marissa Cruz has lived in Yuma for 16 years, and anytime she needs arts and crafts, she heads to Michael's. She knows how hot it can get in Yuma, so her last visit to the store was off.
It was really hot in there, and my son, he's asthmatic, and he's like, the flowers, this is bothering me.
Cruz visited the store Sunday when she asked an employee if the air conditioning was off.
It was just like sweat coming down, and she's just like, yes. The air's been done for 2 weeks.
Cruz says the employees can't speak out or leave because they need the job. So she called and called and called every day since she visited.
Supposedly that they were going to have water coolers, and there was no water coolers. I called yesterday to the Michael's, and they told me, no, there's no water coolers here. News 11 reached out to Michael's corporate office to see if they were aware of the problem and to see what they were doing to fix it.
Thank you for calling Michael's. You've reached the public relations line. I'm sorry we are unable to take your call at the moment.
But attempts to reach Michael's, even through Twitter, have been unsuccessful. Cruz says the whole situation is sad.
Michael's is a big chain, and they should have it fixed, regardless if it's an old building or not.
Now, we also reached out to the Occupational Safety and Health Administration. They say excessive exposure to heat in a workplace can cause heat-related illness and heat stroke. OSHA says if you think employees are at risk, to file a complaint with them. Ivany. 34-year-old Jared Elkins' face was blank and emotionless when Judge Charles Rogers read aloud one word he never thought he'd hear. The jury found Elkins guilty on 4 rape charges.
We, the jury, in the above entitled cause, find the defendant, Jared Daniel Elkins, guilty of the crime of forcible rape.
The jury came to a decision Wednesday after sitting in on a rape trial against former Yuma cop Jared Elkins that lasted nearly 3 weeks. Right then and there, Elkins was placed into handcuffs. He will be held without bail until he is sentenced. Deputy District Attorney Lisa Fox worked on this case.
Extremely pleased with this jury and their verdicts.
Fox says the jury was convinced of the victim's fear because of Elkins' former occupation as a police officer.
I knew that he knew he was raping me, and I saw his gun in the next room earlier in the night. I believed he would not only kill me, but everyone else in my family.
And carried a weapon was significant for the victim in this case because she believed that he would carry through with these threats.
Elkins was arrested outside a San Diego home in September 2017, just hours after the incident. The victim, Elkins' ex-wife's cousin, says after a night of drinking, Elkins raped her. Elkins and his attorney claimed the sex was consensual and rape charges were made out of guilt.
It wasn't the fear that came from force or threats, or any sort of coercive action on the part of Mr. Elkins. It was the fear that came from having had sex with a man whose wife was in the room next door.
During the trial, a juror was kicked off the case. They were seen talking to a friend of Elkins outside the courtroom. An alternate was brought in, and the jury took about a week to come to the decision. Elkins will be sentenced on March 8th of next year. He could face up to 14 years in prison. Reporting in the newsroom, Blake Keller, News 11. Well, new this morning, electronic traffic safety message boards may blur in the background when you're driving on the road, but they serve a good purpose, giving drivers a heads up about traffic safety. And if you don't catch a glimpse at the sign outside the Yuma Police Department, you could be missing out on a laugh or two. So I spoke to the officer behind it all. Driving along 16th Street, you'll see this.
Airbag smear makeup, wear your seatbelt, for Pete's sake.
It's an unusual but memorable and humorous approach to get a driver's attention.
I think the message is conveyed a whole lot better with a little humor behind it than just the stoic, message from the cops.
Sergeant Eric Egan, a 15-year veteran with YPD, is the man behind it all. And it's made possible thanks to a grant from the Arizona Governor's Office of Highway Safety.
The community seems to be more receptive to the messages.
That's what they hope, anyway.
I think there's a need for it because people have to be constantly reminded about their driving behaviors.
One of the behaviors, wearing a seatbelt. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration stresses the importance of wearing one. The reality is 48% of people were killed in 2016 because they were unrestrained.
Get your head out of your apps is probably the best one.
Texting and driving is an issue too. Nearly 3,400 lives lost in 2016 due to distracted driving.
But if I can utilize this and change the message up every week, then it gives a new idea for the people that are traveling, quit causing collisions.
Reporting in Yuma, Blake Keller, News 11. All right, so be on the lookout for new messages. Sergeant Egan adds that he is looking to create some new funny messages. So, of course, pay attention on the road as well. Breaking news coming into our newsroom. President Donald Trump says he plans to end the constitutional right to citizenship. Developing this morning, first, a major port of entry from Mexico to the U.S. was temporarily shut down Sunday. Well, Governor Doug Ducey is expected to be in Yuma later today. Yuma police are still looking for the arsonist responsible for setting the Mesa Heights apartment complex ablaze. 2 is your time. People in Arizona are remembering and honoring the life of Senator John McCain, who passed away Saturday at the age of 81. Good evening. Thanks for tuning in to News 11 tonight. I'm Blake Keller. You said this morning, even when we were walking in, ooh, it's a little bit chillier than usual. Holiday eating makes your belly feel like a bowl full of jelly. You're going to want to listen up. Police are still searching for a woman who fled the scene after they hit a Yuma teenager attempting to cross the street. 6:05 is your time. Yuma Sector Border Patrol agents arrested a United States citizen after he's suspected of smuggling 3 undocumented immigrants. Heads up for parents with new teen drivers. A new law goes into effect July 1st that restricts the use of a cell phone behind the wheel. It has increased significantly in recent years. It is the 4th species followed by Arizona wildlife officials on a live cam. Arizona ranked 5th in the nation for the number of immigration laws enacted over the past decade. Arizona's governor is making sure our first responders are getting the help they need when it comes to their mental health. And of course, you can get into the holiday spirit with a few library events. One Arizona man's latest app on the iPhone will let you secretly record law enforcement, but those temperatures will jump up to the triple digits around noon today. They ate almost 1.6 million pounds of Skittles. I'd probably eat that in a year. Thanks so much for joining us, everyone. Have a great day.